This man right here is Mike McCoy. I think it's fair to say that Mike McCoy's tenure as the interim head coach of the Tennessee Titans has not gotten off to a good start. There are some interim coaches, like Bruce Coslett in 1996 and Jason Garrett in 2010, that are very good when coming in, and they're able to put up a pretty good case for getting hired full-time. McCoy has not been one of those guys, and one of the reasons why is because of poor in-game management skills. He was ultra-conservative at the end of the first half back in Week 7 against the New England Patriots, which backfired on him. He was ultra-conservative down by 10 in plus territory, facing 4th and short in Week 8 against the Indianapolis Colts, which backfired on him in a decision that you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. But now, in his third game with the Titans, he has a chance to flip the script and do it against his former team, as in the San Diego Chargers, who now reside in Los Angeles. Back in San Diego, McCoy was the head coach for 4 seasons and was often criticized for how he managed games. Now, here's a chance on the opposing sideline to change that perception. As for how that went, well, the Titans found themselves down by 7 points with 3:33 left. They need to get a stop here to get the ball back for their struggling offense. Justin Herbert drops back to pass and hits his rookie wideout, Trey Harris, for a gain of 3 at the 45-yard line. First down. Not ideal for the Titans by any means, but they've got all their timeouts and can still get it back with plenty of time left. And
the Titans have thrown the challenge flag on the spot.
Well, they're going to lose.
You're challenging the play? You're challenging this very obvious play, and you took 23 seconds to do it, thereby wasting precious time if and when this challenge fails, and losing a timeout for no reason whatsoever? You're only 53 years old, Mike McCoy. How do you not have a working set of eyeballs? Why are you challenging this play?
After review, the
really
ruling
great
on the
effort.
field stands. It's a first down. Tennessee will be charged their first timeout and their first challenge.
Shocker, I tell you. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before we break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Tennessee Titans head coach Mike McCoy. No exaggeration, no recency bias. This man might be the worst interim coach in NFL history. Now, I know you might be thinking, come on, how can you possibly say that? Remember Hank Coleman with the Phoenix Cardinals in 1989? Jeff Ulbrich with the New York Jets last year? Jeff freaking Saturday in 2022 with the Indianapolis Colts? And yes, all of those guys stunk in their own unique way. But with those guys, none of them had ever been head coaches before at the NFL level. They were learning on the fly when it came to the duties and responsibilities of manning an NFL team. Mike McCoy? He's done this before. He coached 4 seasons as the head coach of the San Diego Chargers. He coached a playoff game. He should know this stuff. The fact that he's screwing up week in and week out is continually getting things wrong when this is not a new experience for him whatsoever is baffling. It's like how an employee straight out of college with no work experience might suck at their job, but at least you somewhat understand it compared to an employee who sucks, who worked at a different company before this and have the same job responsibilities there as they do here. It's like this man is the spiritual successor to Brian Callahan in every way in terms of making dumb decisions. It's uncanny. So with that being said, let's take a look at why challenging a first down spot that was blatantly obvious and then waiting 23 seconds to do it is a really bad idea. We're going to get to the logistics of why this challenge was a bad one from a clock perspective and why you just shot yourself in the foot with this move. But first, when it comes to the play itself, come on. This is so obviously a first down that I don't even know why you're challenging this. This is not a borderline play. This is not a 50-50 call. I know it can be tough to tell down on the field. It can be tough to tell evaluating in real time from high up. But the drive started at the 35-yard line, and it needed to get to the 45-yard line. Every 5 yards, a giant white line goes across the field. The players and the coaches can't see the yellow first down line or the orange first down line in real time, because that's digitally imposed, obviously. But this is the one time they can. This is one of the few times during a football game where you can see exactly what the first down line is going all the way across the field. Because if the Chargers just get to the 45-yard line and get to the first white line available past the line of scrimmage, it's a first. When Trey Harris goes down, here's the still frame just to highlight how obvious this is. Remember that if any part of the ball is on the line, it's a first down. Trey Harris goes down at the 45-yard line, and his elbow is resting with the ball at the 45-yard line. It is a ridiculously obvious first down that never had a chance in the world at being overturned. But as dumb as this challenge was, just from the idea of objectively being correct or not, this was one of the dumbest challenges I've ever seen because of what it did to the complexion of the game. I'm not making episodes of dumb decisions on coaches who lose challenges unless it is a very specific set of circumstances. Coaches lose challenges all the time, and more often than not, I won't fault a coach for throwing the red flag on a close play where it might be able to go either way. A challenge due to bad eyesight is one thing. A challenge with a complete lack of understanding for how the clock works, coupled on top of the bad eyesight, completely different story. At this point, if you're the Titans, and if you're this man right here, Mike McCoy, you need to get the ball back. Down by 7 points with 3:26 left, the only way you win the game is if you get the ball back and get a stop. Whether you challenge this or don't challenge this, if you don't get a stop on the next set of downs, the game is over and you lose, with the Chargers being able to take a knee. So let's say you don't challenge the play and you burn your timeout right as the Chargers get the first down. Your first timeout comes with 3:26. On first down for the Chargers, they call a play that takes 5 seconds off the clock. You take your second timeout with 3:21. On second down for the Chargers, they call another play that takes 5 seconds off the clock. You take your third and final timeout with 3:16. On third down, they call another play that takes 5 seconds off, plus 40 more seconds for the play clock. That means if the Chargers are punting it back to you with 2:31 left. What that means is that you have plenty of time to march down the field and get the game-tying touchdown. And you also have the 2-minute warning available at your disposal as a timeout to your advantage. You basically get a fourth timeout if you don't challenge that play that you can use on the offensive side. And seeing as your offense is dead last in football, ranking 32nd in points scored, 32nd in yards gained, 31st in passing yards, and 32nd in rushing yards, and seeing as you only scored 6 points today on the offensive side of the ball, with 14 coming off of a defensive touchdown and a punt return touchdown, you want as much time and as many plays as possible to march down the field. Calling the timeout right away and not challenging that blatantly obvious play gives you that opportunity. Now let's compare that to what happens if you're Mike McCoy and you're an absolute moron who decides to throw the challenge flag with 3:03 left. Not only do you lose a timeout because you threw the flag, but you lost 23 seconds. The worst thing you can do with timeout management on the plus side of the 2-minute warning is be indecisive. Either take the timeout right away or don't take it at all. But the fact that you took it midway through the play clock and took it in no man's land just screwed you over in a big way. Not that McCoy should have challenged this play to begin with, because it was a really freaking dumb challenge. But at least if you throw the challenge flag right away, I get it. Throw the flag with 3:26, and if the referees overturn the call, you can potentially get the ball back. And if they don't, it's no harm done, because you were going to take your first timeout anyways, and you can't challenge anything inside of 2 minutes. So it's a use it or lose it situation. And you might as well use it if it's close and you need to burn the timeout anyways. It's like what Jim Harbaugh did 1 minute later with the Chargers running out the clock, and Harbaugh challenging the spot on a Justin Herbert run with 2:09 left. He was going to take the timeout anyways before the clock hit zeros. So you might as well throw the flag and see if you can catch a break, because the challenge flags go away. So you might as well see if you can get something extra out of what would be an otherwise ordinary timeout break. But by throwing the flag with 3:03 and losing in spectacular fashion, I might add, there goes your first timeout. Let's do that same fact pattern as before. On first down for the Chargers, they take a play that takes 5 seconds off the clock. You take your second timeout with 2:58. On second down for the Chargers, they call another play that takes 5 seconds off the clock. You take your third and final timeout with 2:53. On third down, they call another play that takes 5 seconds off, plus 40 more seconds for the play clock. That means that the Chargers are punting it back to you with 2:08 left. What that means is that when you get it back, you don't get that fourth timeout with a 2-minute warning, because in all likelihood, by the time the punting play is over, you're on the minus side of it. In the first scenario, you have that fourth timeout. By being an idiot here, however, you don't. It also means that you have fewer plays to work with to drive down the field and tie the game up. You lost roughly 3 or 4 extra plays, maybe even 5 because of the 2-minute warning not being available, to drive the length of the field, which is a problem when your offense is not good. Your yards per play needed in order to go down the field increased tremendously, because not only do you have significantly less time to work with, but you also don't have a fourth timeout to work with, as instead of being able to use the 2-minute warning to your advantage on the offensive side, it's just going to pass without any purpose. And may I remind you, you did this because you thought Trey Harris did not get the first down, even though you can literally see the first down line because it's the giant white line across the field. And you wasted 23 seconds to make up your mind on whether or not to throw the flag when you knew that time was of the essence. You knew that the clock wouldn't reset if the challenge was successful, and you knew that you would burn a timeout at the worst possible time if the challenge was unsuccessful. This might not even be the dumbest challenge of Week 9 and the 1 o'clock window, because Zach Taylor did something insane that needs to be seen to be believed in the Bears-Bengals game. But it's up there. This challenge showed a complete lack of understanding of how the game works. Not just in terms of how the ball is spotted, but in terms of how the clock works and how to properly use your timeouts. And the fact that you were willing to risk it all, risk losing a timeout in no man's land, risk losing the 2-minute warning as a de facto timeout, and risk everything else I just mentioned on this play, knowing your offense, if they touch the ball again, needs all the help they can get? Insane. Absolutely insane. No one asked McCoy after the game about why he decided to challenge this play, so I can't break down McCoy's comments and whether or not they make any sense and follow any line of logical reasoning whatsoever. Bit surprised that no one asked the question about this befuddling challenge, although McCoy had a lot of head-scratching decisions this game, most notably his excessive use of the Wildcat formation with Tony Pollard for some reason, and the media grilled him on that for a good portion of the press conference. So it's not like the time the reporters had with the interim head coach went wasted and was all for nothing. But I still would love to know what he was thinking here, because nothing about this made any sense from either an objective standpoint of having a chance to win the challenge or the standpoint of the time on the clock. Mike McCoy is really freaking bad at this head coaching thing. So what do we learn from all of this? Don't challenge something that is blatantly obvious. If a player needs to get it to a giant white line to pick up a first down, and that player reaches a giant white line, don't waste your muscles, your time, or your brain power on throwing the challenge flag. And if you're going to throw the challenge flag late in the game when you don't have the ball, you need to get a stop, and time is not on your side, then don't wait until the very end of the play clock to do it. Don't let precious seconds come off the clock that you will absolutely need. don't call timeout in no man's land. Basically, if you're Mike McCoy, it's time to take the George Costanza approach and just do the opposite of whatever your brain is telling you to do. Because you are somehow worse at this now than you were in San Diego. And you're approaching Brian Callahan territory, which I didn't think was possible, seeing I seem to be the patron saint of dumb decisions, but here we are. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Check out our live streaming schedule for the next few days. We're live every single day on this channel, whether we're covering a sporting event or playing GeoGuessr or just taking your requests. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single time that we go live and so that you can join this community. Also, thanks to all our members and our Patreon supporters who get exclusive perks like their name at the end of each video, members-only Q&A streams, and cool emojis to use on videos and during streams. See how you can join this community and become a member or a Patreon member by clicking the link in the description below.